Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bullspend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Now Medina. Pull back here. Let's it run. Messi! History in Dallas! 40 years to the day since Diego Maradona scored the hand of God. Lionel Messi scores the goal to make him the World Cup's all-time leading scorer. Wonderful moment. Who's got the velvet slippers on, the little fella? Here come Argentina. Brilliant ball by Messi. Julian Alvarez, good save. Here's the chance for Paredes. He tees up Messi. Is this another one? Lionel Messi, there's the block. And Messi again. Lionel Messi in the double. Argentina get the win. And the little magic man gets his second goal of the game.
Now you've got Mbappe coming out to get space. You've got players running everywhere.
Mbappe! Don't worry, Lionel. He's coming for you.
A little bit more encouraging signs of more
bad giveaway, chance for two, and Mbappe's there. Absolute disaster for Iran. Here's Odegaard again, a much better night for him, and he's got a few options. One of them's here, Haaland, and he's put it in the back of the net. Does it again, the master marksman. Pedersen's in again here. Cuts it back, and Newson and Haaland got in each other's way, plays back, and Haaland again, scores again, that's what he does, and makes it look like shelling peas.
Thank you. Live from New York, it's the show that's wishing Russell Wilds a very happy and successful 8th grade graduation. Absolutely.
Yes,
So
yes.
it is
Congrats,
first things
man.
first. Well done, Wilds and the Wilds family. On today's show, Wilds is off. So are his Celtics. If it's true that Baylor Shireman
baby.
and Hugo Gonzalez were untouchable, I just don't know what to say. We'll get to it. Also, Messi is now the all-time World Cup goal-scoring leader. Is an Argentina repeat inevitable? I mean, Messi's got 5 goals and they have 2 clean sheets. It's a pretty solid start.
It's a nice start.
And finally, with Giannis heading to Miami, could LeBron follow him? I'll be honest, I don't know how much I believe this story, but
He's
it's
done it
good
before.
Video.
He's returned before.
It's something.
It's in a newspaper.
Yeah, Wilds is out
Legitimate
today.
reporter.
I'm Nick Wright, alongside Chris Broussard and Danny Parkins. Brew, at some point in the next 2 hours, should we FaceTime Wilds to try to get his reaction to the Celtics not getting Giannis?
I would love to.
Hubs, check our tech on that.
I
think I asked him. The graduation's supposed to be wrapping up around 11:30. The graduation party around noon. I think he'll be carrying like picnic tables and bags of ice. Like
Perfect timing.
Just see, it could be a fun winners and losers right before noon. But we start today with the blockbuster trade. The Bucks sending Giannis to the Heat. Miami also getting Bobby Portis. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be the first to report. Thanasis might be on his way as well.
Well, especially they need Thanasis. They need to fill out the roster.
Milwaukee gets Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kasparis Yakunshonis, 3 first-round picks, a pick swap, and a second-round pick. The Heat's title odds jump from 30-1 to 18-1 after the trade. Brew, how much closer is Giannis now to winning that elusive second championship?
He's closer, all right, but still, he's looking like the Spurs and the Thunder and the Knicks are way out there, and he's like, I still don't think he can see them. All right, now he is closer than he was in Milwaukee. He has joined a great organization, has a great coach in Eric Spoelstra, and that's about it. I mean, look, Bam Adebayo is a very good player. He's there, okay? Starting point guard is Davion Mitchell, who I think is ideally a backup. And you hope Andrew Wiggins is still there. I imagine they've talked to him. He has a player option. And look,
Norman Powell might be there or might not.
I'm going to talk about Norman Powell today like he is Kawhi Leonard. I mean, if they can't keep Norman Powell, it is essential that they bring back Norman Powell.
Oh, well, I think he's gone, but go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I mean, again, I'm sure they've done all the scenarios and they realize to get Giannis, we're not gonna have this guy, that.
Yeah.
They have to have Norman Powell. And I'm not trying, again, I'm gonna sound like he's a Hall of Famer right now, but last year was their leading scorer. Last year was their leading scorer, and it's more the fit. 22 points a game. He is a great three-point shooter, 40% for his career. Giannis obviously doesn't shoot the three. Bam shot the three last year badly, except in that one night he scored 83. He had shot 31% from three on 5 attempts per game last year. So neither of your two best players shoots the three. Wiggins can shoot it, again, if he's there. Mitchell's okay at it. They have to have Norman Powell because they need a perimeter guy that can get a bucket. And so if they have, let's say ideally they bring back they do have Powell, they do have Wiggins. That's not a bad starting five, but they have no depth. Portis is good depth, but basically no depth. They're going to be great defensively. I think they're going to try to beat teams 65-60. I covered the NBA when they had games like that in the 90s, but I don't even think they're necessarily a home court advantage team. I think they make the playoffs.
Not necessarily a top 4 team.
Yeah. I mean, but he's not much closer.
Well, listen, he is much closer than he was in Miami. He is not
in Milwaukee.
Giannis in Miami is much closer to a title than he was in Milwaukee, but he is not nearly as close to a title as he would have been if he would have went to Boston. Oh, right. Like that,
he made a huge mistake.
That is the, I think, facts on the ground here. I do think that, listen, it's Eric Spoelstra, it's Pat Riley, it's Bam, it's Giannis, and it's South Beach. People are going to want to go there. Now, this year, because they took on more money in this trade, they are hard capped in the first apron. So they have basically no flexibility for this year. They might do Wiggins decline his player option, sign a contract extension to lower his number a little bit.
So maybe they can keep Powell.
So maybe they'll try to keep Powell. My guess is Powell's gone as an unrestricted free agent, so I'm operating as if he is gone. So my guess is the best Miami Heat team for Giannis is 27-28.
That's risky, man.
Not
right,
20,
because he's 31 and injury prone.
I agree it's risky, but Miami always gets pieces. They always get pieces. Alonzo Mourning, Shaq, Bosh, LeBron, Giannis. People will want
pieces. Those were the stars.
I know, but so people are going to want to go to Miami when they next have flexibility to play with these guys. But this year, to your point, they are behind Detroit, Cleveland, Boston, and New York in the East. They are in that Orlando, Indiana tier for me for this upcoming season.
So I agree Giannis is closer than he would have been if he'd stayed in Milwaukee. I'm not sure that Miami is much closer than they were last year. Which sounds like what we're saying. Like they have been living in the play-in. To me,
Do you think they I think they should have done it.
I understand why they did it, because there's only 5 or 6 people in the world like him. It's the hardest thing to get, so you go get it and fill it out from there. But as far as the Miami Heat projections, where they were last year versus where they are this year, I think they are only marginally better. You just listed 4 teams you have definitively ahead of them.
As of today, now.
Right, as of right now. Not mentioned there. An Atlanta team that came on strong once they moved on from Trae Young. You did say Indiana. I'm going to Orlando. So now we're at.
I think you said 5. Did you say 5?
To me, it is Cleveland, Detroit, the Knicks, and the Celtics that are clear. And to me, they are in the Indiana, Orlando, Miami, 5 through 7 seeds.
5 through 7. But then you add Toronto, who had a nice year. Atlanta, who believes that they're building something. If KW was here, he'd say, what about Charlotte finished strong and what they were doing? Philadelphia, whatever their 2 young guards are. I disagree with these Vegas odds. I think, to Brew's point, that right now Miami has, if they keep Norman Powell, 1 top 6 player in Giannis, 1 other top 30 player in Bam. On the King of the Hill I looked at, we had him in the 20s. Okay. And I think that's about fair. And with Norman Powell, 1 other top 75 player.
Maybe Wiggins.
I think if I don't think Wiggins is the way he's played, the last couple of years is of that caliber. But so that is not a championship caliber team by any stretch. And this is what makes me sad, is maybe too strong of a word, but I'm going to use sad about this, because I really value deep, long playoff runs, even if they don't end in championships. You value championships the most, but in college basketball, we do a great job celebrating Final Fours, and then we don't care about them at all in any other sport. But I do think there is something to, this guy made round 3, he made round 2, then he made round 3 again. And Giannis, and I've talked about this with Durant, about there being a line of demarcation in his career of always being in deep playoff runs to never being in deep playoff runs. Giannis's last 5 years against the previous 5 years, his points per game in the playoffs have actually gone up. He's won 1 series in the last 5 years, 8 games. And that is a hard thing for me to see changing dramatically with this decision.
Well, one of the problems for him has been he's been hurt. He missed 8 of the Bucks' last 16 playoff games. So he's always injured. And Miami was one of the teams that beat him up.
I was at the game. He got hurt in game 1 of that series. They were the heavy favorite. They were the 1 seed. He fell on his back and was never the same.
But so this is can we show the series wins thing? This is a Bill Simmons thing. But these are, to me, 10 active guys. It's not the 10 best all-time active guys, but who have championships. So Russ and Harden aren't on there, okay? So throw LeBron's 42 series wins out.
It's a lot.
Steph has 24. KD has 22. Kawhi is 19. Jason Tatum, considerably younger than Giannis, with 15. Brunson just started winning, has 10. Joker, who this also could apply to Joker to a degree, has 10. Shea just started winning, 7. Giannis with 8 career series victories, and Anthony Davis, who it's injuries, and New Orleans didn't have it. We look at Anthony Davis as really only being a part of a contender for a very brief period of his career. After this trade, Brew, what do we think is the likely number this ends at for Giannis? 12? He wins 4 more series? It's just a bummer to me. I do think he's an all-time great player, and I don't think the next few years are going to be much different than the last few years.
He made a colossal mistake. Colossal. In that he could have forced his way to Boston. He could have said, look, it's down to these 2 teams. I will only re-sign with the Celtics. And he would have been there. And to your point, he would have been able to maybe win a championship this year, upcoming. And then going forward, they would have been contenders for the next 4 or 5 years. And now I hear you. I don't think everybody's going to run to South Beach to play with Giannis. Oof. I mean, if they have cap room, sure, guys will go there. But
I just the history of the NBA says it's one of the most attractive, if not the most attractive destination.
When did guys run there? Like LeBron and Bosh decided to go there. Wade was already there. They went there to play with Wade, and then they got some veterans on the vet. But those are veteran role players. This team still needs better players. They aren't just role players.
Listen, I agree. Right, if Chris Middleton signs for the minimum for this team, that's not moving the needle for anyone, even though Giannis would love it. I understand the realities of them for this year. But I will be very surprised if we do not at some point see a Bam Giannis fill-in-the-blank player and we say, wow, Miami has some version of a big three.
Oh, I will be surprised.
Again, not for this season, but a year from now.
If they sign Norman Powell,
Norman Powell was an all-star this year, right? So they think Norman. Again, I think it'll be Norman Powell.
I think Norman Powell, like I said, I like him there. They need him there this season.
Right, but they don't have. They just traded everything they had other than Bam to get Giannis. I don't see a mechanism for them adding a third piece, and it's why I don't understand. I agree with Brew on this, and I've been saying it. It's kind of weird. We've been talking about this trade for 2.5 years, and then it happens, and it feels almost anticlimactic. I don't understand why Giannis was okay with this. And we'll talk about it throughout the day. We'll talk about the Bucks side of it now, or the Boston side of it, pardon me. They reportedly offered Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks in exchange for Giannis. The Bucks decided to go with the Heat's offer. Danny, I'm supposed to ask you, did Milwaukee make the right trade? But we'll get to that in a moment. First, I would like to ask you this. How are you doing? And as the only person in the world, I think, who was adamant, I still think Giannis might stay with Milwaukee. Yeah. I want Giannis to stay with Milwaukee. Are we adding this to what is maybe the worst run of a month-long
it's been a tough
NBA-related takes? And
I did okay.
I
apologize to the Knicks fans. Go ahead.
Just how are you as, this is your version of Mike Evans with the Bucks, with Wild. Like you have real emotional attachment.
Okay, Giannis is arguably my favorite non-Bull ever. I love everything about the kid's story. 15th overall pick, skinny guy out of Greece, goes to the small market team, signs not 1, not 2, but 3 contract extensions to build there, to recruit there. I've mentioned this before, but I do think it is worth noting and remembering today that other than Steph Curry, Giannis to Milwaukee was the single most significant player to an organization in the NBA, given that LeBron is no longer in Cleveland. In 2014-15, there was a provision in the sale of the team that said if they could not get financing for a new stadium, the league could buy the Bucks, and they were going to move the Milwaukee Bucks out of Milwaukee. And Giannis saved professional basketball in the city of Milwaukee. Every Bucks fan will refer to the Fiserv Forum as the house that Giannis built. He's a 2-time MVP. He's one of 3 guys ever to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same year. He scores 50 in a closeout game in the building that he helped finance. He is the most important player in the history of that franchise and that city. So I do think it is sad that he is leaving Milwaukee. I was hoping that he was going to be Duncan or Dirk or Kobe and play for one team for forever. And on an emotional level, I do think Giannis is going to regret this because he probably will not win in Miami. Most teams do not win. And he will just be looked at as the next guy who went to Miami, and he will not matter as much in South Beach as he did in Milwaukee. So I do think Giannis ultimately will regret this, and I do mourn is way overstating it. It is sports sadness. But I do have sports sadness for one of the great small market success stories in the history of the NBA. Just leaving and going to South Beach.
Can I add this to that? You mentioned, I agree, he probably will not win a championship in Miami.
That's the odds, of course.
The expectations, though, are that he will. And he's going to be compared. When LeBron came here, even though it was with Wade and Bosh, he won. You already hear it. Every time they get a big name,
Jimmy
Wade
Butler,
and
who
Shaq,
we haven't mentioned, went to two finals. They didn't win, but they went to two
and
finals.
those teams were mediocre teams that got hot in the playoffs. But Shaq and Wade, they won. So people are already looking at rightly putting him in that class and saying they got championships with Pat Riley and Spoelstra, that Giannis can get a championship, and he won't.
So the one thing that will at some point make Bucks fans feel better is if this trade works out. And so to this point, I do want to say this: if I were John Horson running the Bucks, and I've got Brad Stevens truly telling me, I'm sorry, Hugo Gonzalez is a deal breaker, I think out of spite I might not trade with you. Like
Brad Stevens should have got this.
And so we'll talk about the Celtics side in a moment. I am curious, and I'll go to you, and then do you think we now know what the Heat traded? If you were Milwaukee, would you have rather had Jaylen Brown and 2 firsts? Because I think the Bucks did okay in what they got back for Giannis. My only anxiety is they don't own their own picks for the next 4 years. So would you have been better off either getting Jaylen Brown or funneling Jaylen Brown to Portland to get your own picks back? Like, do you think this was the better of the two options?
Well, look,
for Milwaukee?
I'm going to take out the funneling Jaylen somewhere else. I'm just going to act like Jaylen would have been a Buck.
Yes.
And while obviously he would have been by far the better player than anybody they got from Miami, when you really look at the Bucks situation, I do think they made the right call. Because if they get Jaylen Brown, they are essentially in the same spot they were with Giannis. You got one great player who's not as good as Giannis, but still a superstar and a great player, and a bunch of pieces around him. You don't control your own pick until 2031. So it would have been hard for them to build around Jaylen Brown. And so he would have been, a guy you can sell to the public as we got another star. He's right in his prime. But I don't think the team would have been much better. Now with Miami, none of these players are fantastic. Kel'el Ware has some potential. We'll see what he can do. He's a 7-footer who can protect the rim, shoot threes. Jaime Jaquez, obviously a good 6-man. And the key is those two guys are on their rookie scale deals. I like the kid, Jokanovic, I mispronounce his name, but I remember talking about him last year as a big kind of point guard type. So maybe he's got some potential. But importantly, they now have created a situation that can do a full rebuild. And maybe some of these guys are keepers, maybe not, but they'll have space, cap room, picks. I know the picks they got aren't until the 2030s.
For a long time.
But they got 2 this draft, 1 their own. So I just think it's easier to rebuild this way.
Obviously, if there was a time machine and sentimentality did not exist, you trade Giannis a year ago, give him to a team for 2 runs, and you get double this offer, if not more. But I just mentioned the sentimentality piece of what Giannis meant. That wasn't possible. Given the fact that Giannis did not demand Boston, and these were the 2 offers, this is a no-brainer for Milwaukee. Would Jaylen Brown be happy in Milwaukee, or would he just demand to get out? There's no guarantees there whatsoever. And, you are just a different version of the same team, except not the most beloved player in the history of your franchise. These assets, it starts with tonight. You get the 13th pick in addition to having the 10th pick in one of the deepest drafts in 25 years. The guy whose name neither of us can pronounce was their first round. Yaku Jonas, thank you, was their first round pick last year. Kel'el Ware's a 7-footer who can shoot, who was the first round pick from 2 years ago. Jaquez Jr. was the runner-up for 6th man of the year. And Tyler Hero, who everyone thinks they're going to reroute, he is a former All-Star who's 26 years old, who is from Milwaukee, who will
Would you not because I would reroute him if I can.
I probably would too, but they gotta, because they don't own their picks, they probably don't want to be awful. And in this new lottery world, when the pick swap is when Giannis is 35 and the first rounders are when he's 36 and 38, and there's no protections on those picks, those are very valuable future picks, even if they are a long way into the future.
I'm very curious if Jaylen Brown does get traded. how we look at what his return is compared to the Giannis return and determine whether or not Milwaukee would have been better off trading for Jaylen Brown than doing that trade themselves. We'll talk about Jaylen Brown in a moment, but we need to talk about Messi.
Yeah, we do.
Leo scored in the 38th minute yesterday to pass Miroslav Klose to become the men's all-time leading World Cup goal scorer. He notched another in the 95th to pass Marta, Brazilian legend, as the all-time leading goal scorer in men's and women's World Cup history. Argentina, another clean sheet, another game where Messi scores all the goals. Here's Thierry Henry on the historic moment. Take a listen.
First and foremost, this guy doesn't chase records. Records chase him. That's I don't know how he does that. I don't know how he made it happen. And that's something I don't know who's in charge of putting words in the dictionary. But they should put his name as out of the norm. Then you have Messi.
So here is now the list. Messi at 18, Mbappe hot on his heels as he had 2 yesterday as well for the all-time leaders in World Cup goals. Before I go to you, Danny, I want the audience to understand how remarkable this is because this was the only but on Leo Messi's resume was, even though he had won the Golden Boot prior to them winning the Golden Ball, prior to them winning the World Cup in 2022, what people thought was underachieving either with the Argentinian national team or at the World Cup in particular. And if you look at it, his first 20 games in the World Cup, they won 12, he scored 7 goals. The last 8 games, they haven't lost once, he has 11 goals. He now has these records in World Cup history. The most tournaments, the most games, the most goals plus assists. 1 more assist, he'll have the most assists. It is ending the Messi versus Ronaldo debate in real time, afternoon by afternoon. And it is a chills moment every time Argentina has taken the field this tournament, which is a continuation of the last World Cup.
It's insane. I said yesterday that it feels a little Wayne Gretzky-ish, where it's like every GOAT debate in sports, there's a debate to be had. But in hockey, it's like, well, obviously it's Wayne Gretzky. Right. That's what it has become in soccer. It's like, it's obviously Messi. But one of the things that GOATs do is they have new things to shoot for that we never would have otherwise even imagined was possible. So he gets the World Cup, the last thing that was left off of his resume 4 years ago. And they're like, well, now everything else is just icing on the cake. And then you said it. He's like, well, he actually doesn't have a golden boot in the World Cup.
Right.
That's actually, he's done it a ton of times in La Liga. He's done it in MLS. But no way at 38, tomorrow's his birthday, 39 years old. No way he could win the golden boot at this World Cup. Right. What if he does?
I mean, right now, I think, I mean, I don't know what the Vegas odds are, but he was probably the slight favorite to win it.
Which, unfathomable, given Mbappe being 27 and in his prime and a previous golden boot winner. So he is making everybody reimagine what is possible in real time.
Yeah, what it seems like, and Nick, you showed the graphic earlier, it doesn't even feel right to say it. Is he getting better? And obviously he's different. He does it more, with his skills and his brain and, his pacing and, he's doing it differently than when he was younger, but he is still doing it as effectively, if not more effectively, certainly more effectively in the World Cup than he did when he was younger. And I do think winning that championship 4 years ago took kind of the monkey off his back, and now he's playing, I feel like he's playing more free than he did 4 years ago when he was great. He's now scored in 6 straight World Cup games. That's off his back. I've won a World Cup, and now he's just out there doing his thing carefree. And he's got somebody to push him in Mbappe, so who knows how high he's going to put this goals record.
And coming into this tournament, even though Argentina was one of the favorites, so you expected Messi to play in maybe the maximum games or close to it, he was 16-1 to win the Golden Boot. He's now 1.5 to 1 and the favorite.
That is
which
insane.
is just, and it should be an impossibility. All right, coming up next, what do the Celtics do now? Hey, Danny, we've been considering trading you repeatedly for Adam Lefko. It fell through, so just come back and don't feel bad about it.
Lefko's
How
great.
would that work? Speaking of a GOAT conversation, or what once was, Cristiano Ronaldo. He is worse than 16-1 for the Golden Boot. I'm very confident in that as Portugal tries to get its first victory of the World Cup against Uzbekistan today in 2.5 hours, live on Fox from Houston.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Back here on First Things First, Dax's guy, Harry Kane, he's going to try to stay in the Golden Boot combo, working off his 2-goal performance in Game 1, counting down to England-Ghana today at 4 Eastern on Fox, live from Boston. Why? So here's the thing. That game's just far enough out that old KW could go to his kid's graduation and still be like, hey, guess what? Making the drive up the turnpike to go see the game. Moving to the blockbuster trade of the day, Giannis headed to South Beach. Not our Giannis, she's staying. She actually does go to South Beach quite often. She has family there, but she's staying here most of the time.
Giannis and Giannis.
Celtics coming up short in acquiring the 2-time NBA MVP. Boston, though, reportedly offered 2 first-round picks and Jaylen Brown for Giannis. But the Bucks sided with the Heat's package instead. Brew, what do the Celtics do now with Jaylen Brown?
Well, first, let me say this. I think why the Celtics were willing to move on from Jaylen, we know they're a heavy analytics team. Obviously, Mazzulla, Brad Stevens. And I voted Jaylen Brown first team All-NBA. All right, I think he was 5th on my MVP ballot. So I think he had a phenomenal year.
But he is not an analytical darling.
No, and these numbers are stunning, and people have recited them throughout the year. But in the regular season, the Celtics with Jaylen Brown on the court were a plus 6.5 points. And when he was off the court, they were plus 10.5. All right. In the playoffs, with him on the court, they were minus 4.9, so minus 5 points against their opposition. With him off the court, they were plus 23.9. So again, I think these numbers don't tell the story, but people that really put everything in the analytics do, and I think that played a large role in them offering Jaylen, who I think we all agree is not as good as Jason Tatum. Now, I honestly feel like it really depends on what Jaylen's going to do. I do think they need to try to upgrade, and I do think they have to use Jaylen Brown as the piece to make a huge move. The problem is Giannis was one of the few players that would be available that I would trade Jaylen Brown for.
Yes.
I was looking through there's really no other realistic one-to-one trade that I would say I would do, right? Like you could have, now again, these are two teams that compete in the Eastern Conference, so maybe they wouldn't deal anyway. But let's say Jalen Duren hadn't fallen off the cliff in the playoffs. Maybe you say, okay, we need size, we can get Duren. They need scoring, they got Brown. But the way Duren looked in the playoffs, there's no way I'm doing that if I'm Boston. So I think you might just have to be honest and have a heart-to-heart with him and be like, hey, it's true.
That's a tough heart to heart.
And it's the second time.
If he's able to let it just go off his back, fine.
But if he's
going to have a problem with it, you might have to talk with him.
So listen, I think, and Danny, I'll give it to you in a second. I do not think Jaylen Brown's going to start the season on Boston. I think that he was officially offered in a trade for Kevin Durant 4 years ago. He was officially offered now again. This is on the heels of, I think already it's fair to say, he and Jason Tatum, maybe through no fault of any one person, have an don't have the tightest relationship. And again,
and you don't have to.
You don't have
they've
to.
obviously worked well together.
Right, 100%. But it's not as if I'm speculating here. I don't think that Jason Tatum is going to throw his body in front of a potential trade. And I think Jaylen Brown, with all of his comments about how much fun last year was and all of that, it's okay, I loved being the lead guy on a team. And now you guys were offering me up to send me to basketball, sorry, Danny, Siberia for the time being, the rebuilding Milwaukee Bucks. Why do I want to be here rather than one of those places that we were talking about being in the 3-team trade, Atlanta, Portland, wherever, where maybe we can compete and I can be the lead guy. So I think they will trade him, Danny.
I think they will trade him too. All of the reasons you said about the relationship, it would be one hell of a heart-to-heart to come back from. But, Brew, I wanted to put this together for you, for the audience. Jaylen Brown is not a tough player to trade. He finished 6th in MVP, second-team All-NBA, and he has 3 years and I believe $178 million left on his contract. So you can make anything work.
Yep.
So, I did not include a Paolo Banchero-centered trade. I did not include a Portland, Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant.
Scoot Henderson?
Well, he was saying a bunch of guys.
And Shaedon Sharpe and Jeremy Grant. So I did not include it, but I got 4 for you here. You ready?
Thank you for not including it.
Okay, but Portland wants
Paolo's okay, but I don't want that.
Number one, let's say Boston just we want size. We want size. We want to score in the paint. We want to change our team. Philadelphia. You interested in Joel Embiid and a 22nd pick? Tonight's draft?
That's
basically for the 22nd pick.
Okay.
No,
I can't count on
Embiid's contracts. Celtics fans are gonna would revolt.
I'm not saying they do it. The contract. Okay, fine. We don't.
So that one is a no.
Okay, fine. They tried once before for Kevin Durant. What about Houston? You get Kevin Durant and you get Jabari Smith. So you get older with Durant, you keep the shooting, you get Jabari Smith, you get the power forward, you get some inside present, you get young and old, you get the shooting. That trade.
Hold on, can we stay on this for a second?
By all means. I did not include every draft pick permutation that might need to get thrown into these.
So I want to dig in on that just for a second. That is to me 60 cents on the dollar for Jaylen Brown. So I need a lot of draft pick compensation if I am Boston on that. Jaylen Brown, Kevin Durant is defying all the aging odds already, and Jabari Smith has been, given where his top 4 pick, disappointing. He's a nice player, but nobody thinks he's a future star.
What he is
and so that one, I certainly like that more than the Embiid, but if I'm Boston and need more.
I want to be clear for inevitably when these get clipped for social media. I am not including all of the draft picks that would need to go into these
Super
trades.
Smart to make that clear verbally on something that's just going to be a screenshot and sent to you for you. Thank you. So just so you know,
there's
going to be in the replies. Listen to the clip, and people are going to be like, "I just saw a picture."
There's a million different picks that can go in.
You know.
All right, fine.
I'm just letting you know.
TV veteran over here. All right, number 3. You guys might not like this because it also doesn't have all of the picks. Kawhi Leonard and multiple future firsts. Kawhi Leonard came off a year where he scored 28 points on 50, 39, 90 splits.
Look, Kawhi is awesome. He's hurt too much. Last year was an aberration that he was healthy.
Yeah,
you're not getting the 5th pick in the draft, which the Clippers also have.
No. So that's what I was going to say. That would have to be instead of multiple future firsts, the 5th pick, and then the Celtics add some picks on their own on the back end. Kawhi, my biggest issue with these 3 so far, Danny, is if I'm Boston, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm getting older, and these guys aren't as good as Jaylen Brown. Go ahead.
So maybe you would like a Banchero centered trade, which he's younger, he's almost as good. Orlando maybe wants to move up there, and then this one, if Boston just wants to get younger and more athletic, do you call Atlanta and say Reese Shea, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Kuminga, and we are now bigger, more athletic, more versatile, and that fundamentally changes the framework of our team around.
I still think they're going to want to shoot. Even if they were going to bring in Giannis, but they have shooters all around him. They're going to want to shoot the basketball.
I'm not saying you don't shoot. I mean, listen, you're going to have Derek White, you're going to have Pritchard, you're still going to know that 3 is more than 2. You will still, but Boston was just, they had one card to play, and they kept playing it. They need depth, they need versatility, they need to have different answers to the test. And I do think this trade, it's no one player is close to Jaylen Brown, but that makes you a much more
You think that makes you
team.
better?
I think it makes you very different. I think it makes you very different.
Does it make you better? No. They are still, look, if they run it back, are they not a contender?
No, they're
they are a contender.
They are
definitely a contender. But you totally, just because you want to needle me about Scoot, as soon as you heard Scoot Henderson's name.
You want Scoot?
No, it was, but Danny's point on the Portland was you are trading, $1 for 4 quarters, and you are getting a bunch of role players to fill in that void.
Right. But I don't want
so for the record, that's the type of trade I think Boston is going to do.
Jeremy Grant.
I think again, not
their
Portland
problem last year wasn't depth. They do need some athleticism.
Yeah.
But they were still a good defensive team, even without Jason Tatum. They relied too much on the 3. I just don't think bringing in role players that can't really shoot is what they want to do.
So I think what I do think is, to your point about the only 1-for-1 where you were going to get similar value as Giannis, if that's now gone and they don't want to get way older, which I don't think they want to do, so that removes like the Durant type of option or in Kawhi type of option. And they want to, it's not like they're trying to reset right now. They just, had the number 2 seed in the year. Tatum missed most of the year. I do think that what they are going to try to do is remake, again, I don't necessarily love the exact details of the Hawks trade, but that type of trade. A trade where you are bringing in 3 quality rotation pieces to remove, because, Brew, what you were saying about them all year, they had depth, but it was a lot of guys playing a similar role.
Same thing,
It's
right.
a bunch of shooters, and to add some athleticism. They've always been a good defensive team, but that probably takes a hit without Brown. But my big takeaway is this. I do not think Jaylen Brown's on the Celtics. And if I'm the Celtics, I am very anxious about his next Twitch stream. Like, this is now credibly reported by everyone. He was offered. That the Celtics said, it's one thing to be mentioned in trade combos. It's another thing like, nope, hey, will you take this? The Celtics are saying we would rather have the older, more injured Giannis than you and 2 first-round picks. Like, that's where we see you. Like, does Jaylen Brown, whether he should or shouldn't, I'm sure is like, I'm better than Giannis. Shouldn't trade me for Giannis straight up. What did Giannis do last year? Why couldn't Giannis do for his team what I did for mine? Like,
maybe, or maybe he understands who Giannis is. I mean, look, I hear you, and Jaylen probably is upset, and you're right. Who knows what he's going to say on Twitch? This is where it gets tough running a team, but I think you might need to just have a heart-to-heart. Look, Jay, we love you. We got 178 million pieces of proof that we love you. We need to get bigger. Joel Embiid bullied us in the playoffs and we got upset. We were looking at getting bigger, and Giannis obviously is great, and we had to give up a great player for him. But that doesn't mean we don't want you on our team.
The trade that you didn't mention that I thought might be interesting is one involving Evan Mobley.
I thought about that.
Cleveland wasn't willing to do it for Giannis, so I don't think that they're willing to do it for Jaylen Brown.
I think there are some teams that would value Jaylen more than Giannis because of his age and durability, depending on what your timeline is.
Mobley would be perfect in Boston.
Counting down to Portugal, Uzbekistan on Fox, 2 hours and 13 minutes. See if Cristiano Ronaldo can join the other legends who are just not having 1-goal games, having 2 and 3 goal games. Giannis trade still most of the headlines. The T-Wolves, though, traded 3-time All-Star Julius Randle to the Nets in a pure salary dump. Yeah. They gave up Randle and the 28th pick. and got back the 33rd pick. The Bulls somehow pick up Nick Claxton in the deal. I don't totally understand it.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Randle averaged 21, 7, and 5 this season. He now, after being part of the reason the Knicks came up from the depths, has to go play in Brooklyn across the bridge while the Knicks are the defending champs. Brew, what'd you make of this trade?
Well, look, first of all, Brooklyn putting together a nice big two. Julius Randle and Michael Porter Jr. Yeah. No, look, the Nets, I think I don't know what they're doing. All right. The T-Wolves, I like this.
You like it?
Wow.
Yes. For the T-Wolves. Julius Randle, you said it, 21, 7, and I think 4 assists, five assists during the regular season. What did he do against the Spurs? What did he do when it counted? Well, I'm about winning playoff
I understand,
games. I'm not about putting up big numbers in the regular season.
But they gave him away. They got nothing.
Well, they cleared the money to sign Ayo Dosunmu. So, and we'll see what he can become. I mean, he was averaging 15 in Chicago.
Better become a lot.
I love it.
He scored 21 a game against Denver to help them win that series. I think they feel like Ayo, Jaden McDaniels, and obviously Ant. That's a nice perimeter trio. You still got Gobert to guard the big boys.
And Nasri gets to start
Jokic.
now.
Yeah. And so they still need to add some things. I don't think they're where San Antonio and OKC are. They need to do some other stuff. But Randle, they're like, he's not going to help me in the playoffs. This is how bad it was. 12 points, 1 assist,
he was
34%
really
shooting, 19 from 3.
But it means they traded Cat for Dante DiVincenzo.
I can't worry about that. That's water under the bridge. Yeah. And so I just think this was a good move because it allowed them to keep Ayo.
Keeping Ayo is great. Thrilled for him and where he's gotten to in his career as a former second-round pick. Love that for Ayo. But if I am Minnesota and there's new ownership there, and they had been a luxury tax team for the last few years for the first time ever, and now they are just dumping 21, 7, and 5 for pure salary dump, and I am Anthony Edwards, who just watched Karl Anthony Towns win a title. When does Anthony Edwards demand a trade?
Well, we got him locked up for a few years.
Okay.
But
star players have been under contract and have been disgruntled and have demanded trades before. I would be terrified.
Does he seem like that type?
I would be terrified.
I think he could in the future. Right now, I don't think.
Here's my thing, Brew. Because they had Ayo's bird rights, they could have kept Randle and signed Ayo. It just cost the owner more money.
Did it for money.
And so that is the part that is disconcerting to me, because even given his playoff struggles, do you agree, Brew, if they were willing to take on the money, Julius Randle has value in the league? They could have traded him for something. Like he is not. It's not a contract.
It was a straight up salary.
And so that to me always is disappointing if you're a fan base thinking we are contending. He has value in the league even given his contract, and they got negative value for him. They went from the 28th pick to the 33rd pick.
The guy that the Bulls traded for him was on a non-guaranteed contract.
Yeah, and so that part I don't love. I will tell you, however, who the biggest winner of this trade is. And the biggest loser of this trade is Austin Reeves, because there were two teams that had more cap space than the Lakers, the Nets and the Bulls. They both used it in this deal.
Yep.
And now Austin Reeves has no negotiating leverage anymore. Like
they still have room, but
but they no longer can offer him a max. They can't threaten the Lakers. So now the Lakers can so the Lakers are a winner in this. Austin Reeves, again, he's going to be fine. But the team with the most cap space in the league by a lot is the Lakers. And at this point, it's like $52 million. These teams are down to around $38 and $34 million. And his agent can't threaten him with, hey, we're going to go to Brooklyn, because the Lakers can trump whatever that offers. So in a weird way, this is actually really good for the Lakers, who have 3 first-round picks they can trade and more cap space than anyone. I trust Rob Pelinka is going to nail this offseason. Coming up next, is Giannis going to win a title in Miami? No.
Gianna wrote that question.
And we are counting down to England-Ghana today at 4 Eastern, live from Boston. The question being, will Harry Kane stay in the Golden Boot combo? And is Kevin Wildes actually actually taking the day off to see it when he claims he's at his kid's 8th grade graduation. We investigate. It's all next. First things first. Live from New York, it's the show that just got a text from old KW that he was listening to the last segment. His graduation's over, so I don't know if he appreciates the jokes we were making at his expense. But if he is in the car, two things. One is, we know he's not driving because he doesn't drive. His lovely wife, Libby, does. So FaceTime us in to give us your Celtics take. And if you're in the car with your son, Russ, congrats, Russ.
Absolutely.
Graduate in 8th grade.
Congratulations.
Ask your pops about how hard it was for him to graduate 8th grade. It was way harder back in the day for him. Coming up, it's the second hour, first things first. Giannis headed to Miami. Does that mean LeBron will soon follow? Probably not, but maybe. Can't be dismissed as a possibility.
Okay.
And can soon-to-be 39-year-old Leo Messi carry Argentina to another World Cup title? I mean, the answer to that is definitively yes. He definitely can. He's been maybe the best player in the tournament, and their defense might be the best in the tournament. But we start with the blockbuster trade. The Bucks, I'm going to go ahead and call him the greatest player in franchise history.
Yes.
He's not the greatest player ever to wear a uniform of the Bucks, but he is the greatest player in franchise history. To the Miami Heat. Miami's title odds jumped from 9th to 5th after the news. The Heat now have the 3rd best odds to win the East, behind the Celtics, who didn't land Giannis, and the Knicks, who literally just had a parade. And by the way, the Celtics still have better odds than the Knicks, which means the disrespect to the Knicks just continues. Here are the notable players currently on the Heat roster. Now, keep in mind, Norm Powell is a free agent. Wiggins has an option. So the only of these guys that they have locked under contract are Giannis, Bam, Portis, Jovic, and Davion Mitchell. We expect that Wiggins will be back. Norm Powell, I thought, was going to be back. But Wendy this morning was like, don't expect him back unless he takes a big discount.
Well, to your point, what teams have the cap room? I mean, if
Los
you're
Angeles,
him, you just take them. Well, he'd be nice there.
He'd be nice in a lot of places, and he might still have a house in Los Angeles. He used to play for the Clippers.
They might be able to do a sign and trade though. Get someone back for Powell. It's possible.
And it should be noted that this trade is not going to be finalized until July 6th, so there could be other small permutations on it for whatever it's worth. Brew. But that's the roster as it presently stands, essentially. Can Giannis contend in Miami?
That group could contend in the Eastern Conference, but they don't have the depth. All right, and to your point, I think they'll have Andrew Wiggins, but if they don't have Norman Powell, and I said last hour, I'm going to be talking about him like he's Kawhi Leonard. I can't overemphasize how important he is to this roster this year, right? He was a first-time All-Star this year, averaged 22 points a game. Now, he's 33 years old. He's no spring chicken, but they need a perimeter player who can shoot the three. I know Wiggins can shoot it, but Powell also can create offense for others and himself. Right now, outside of him, there's nobody on that roster that does that. Giannis is a straight line driver and a great passer, but they need a perimeter guy that can do some stuff. And that's why if they lose Norm Powell, I really think it's going to be tough for them this year. So, look, I don't think they are one of the top teams in the East. They have a great organization. They've got great leadership. Eric Spoelstra is a very good coach. But this group, it's the fit, too. And when you were talking about, like, top 75 player, top 30 player, top 10 player and all that, to me, it's more the fit. Like, your two best players don't shoot the three. Bam shoots it, but poorly.
It, doesn't shoot it well.
Poorly, 32% last year. Giannis doesn't shoot it. And then your point guard, Davion Mitchell, is ideally a backup. Like, this is not a well put together roster as it is right now. And so they have a lot of work to do. And the problem, Danny, is that while they've got work to do, and you said, okay, it won't be this season, it'll be next season. Giannis is 31 and 14th year in the league and been injury prone for the last few seasons. They need to try to win now.
Well, obviously you cannot win if Giannis is hurt. We just saw that in Milwaukee. Right? So, yes, no question. This is a gamble. Trading for Giannis with his injury history.
Let's say Giannis has a fully healthy season for the sake of this discussion.
Right, exactly. So this team this year, I do not think is realistic to say that they are a contender as presently constituted. And because of taking on more money in this deal than went out, they are capped at the first apron, so they have very limited flexibility for this year. But I also, and you guys seem to disagree with this, I do not want to underestimate the appeal and attraction for a player or players in the future to try to maneuver their way to Miami to play with Bam, who is very popular in the league, to play with Giannis, who is beloved in the league. I mean, they might be the best defense in the Eastern Conference this year.
I think their defense is going to be great. Defensively, they're going to be a great team.
Because Mitchell is a very good defensive player. Wiggins is a plus athlete.
Hero was one of their worst defenders, and he's gone.
I don't think they're going to be a better defensive team than Oklahoma City or San Antonio, but I do think that they should be the best defensive team in the East. And you have two all-star to all-NBA caliber players in Bam and Giannis. Arguably the best coach in the league in Spoelstra, who always gets guys to overperform, and a great general manager and the appeal of Pat Riley, who generally speaking gets his man. And again, this year, I'm aware of the ramifications and the difficulties of maneuvering there for this year. But as things open up and they get more flexibility and the cap goes up, I am not going to rule out the possibility that 2 and 3 years from now, there is another major piece that ends up in Miami.
3 years.
I mean,
but that's what they're doing. Giannis is going to sign a 3-year contract.
When Giannis is 34.
33, 34. Yeah, he's going to sign a 3-year, $200-and-something million contract extension soon. He is going. The only reason he wanted to go to Miami or Boston was those were places he was willing to extend. This isn't a 1-year proposition.
No, it's not. But how many more? Listen, it has been a couple years since Giannis was, just as far as how the season went, a legitimate MVP candidate. And now it's the last year we can say it's just because he was hurt.
He hasn't made an all-defensive team in 4 years.
No, he's not the same defender he once was, but he's still, last year when he played, his numbers are unbelievable. He's an offensive engine. He's a unique offensive engine because he doesn't shoot at all, but that's fine. How many more years do you guys think Giannis has as an top 5 player in the league? I called him top 6 earlier because I don't want to argue with people, but in that. I would say your best case scenario on that is 3 more years. Okay. I think that's your best case scenario.
But you're saying that's when they're going to get there.
Right. That's
2 and 3 years from now. But as a top 5 guy, Giannis is going to be a great player for a while.
Free agency isn't what it used to be.
Yeah. Oh no, as evidenced by the Minnesota Brooklyn Chicago deal.
My answer to this is just flatly no.
But more people can contend in the NBA than ever. We've seen that. The Knicks kind of 52 wins and end up winning the title.
The Knicks have pieces that fit together.
The Jimmy Butler teams that went to the finals. The Pacers team last year. I don't believe that we're in an era of basketball where only 2 to 4 teams can win a title.
Okay, hold on. I don't want to be argumentative. You definitely do believe that. You think you definitely think that there's that everyone is chasing 1 or 2 super teams, and the Knicks maybe just got hot and won. But your standard is, can you beat the Thunder or can you beat the Spurs? And I think you should add the Knicks to that group. And I think if there's any team in the East that has earned a benefit of the doubt organizationally over the last decade, it is not Miami, it is Boston. And what I am saying is those 4 teams I just listed, all 4 of them, would not be like, oh my God, what if we can't retain Norman Powell? And that's what we're saying Miami is. Right. I don't know that Norman Powell would start for the Knicks. Now, is he better than Josh Hart? Sure. But as far as what the fit of what they're trying to do. And so I I probably don't have the emotional attachment to Giannis that you do from your family's fandom and from you going to games to see him play, Milwaukee being close to Chicago. But I've gotten in years ago big arguments with Brew. Not big arguments, but like I've been a big Giannis advocate. Like I didn't care that he can't shoot. He can average 30 and scored 50 in the finals. Who cares where it comes from? All of that. I think a couple of things are at play here. One, I think we are on the downslope of Giannis's career. I'm not saying it is a steep downslope, but I think that the peak Giannis was pretty clearly a few years ago, right. And it's gotten either through availability or whatever other reason, just erosion of skill. He's not quite as good. So there's one thing. The other thing is, I am not as certain that Pat Riley is going to wave his magic wand and make a contender. Pat Riley getting Alonzo Mourning was great. It was 30 years ago. Getting Shaquille O'Neal was awesome. It was 25 years ago. He did not get LeBron. Like LeBron, I mean, you give him credit, that's fine.
Good pitch.
He made a good pitch, but like LeBron and Bosh and Wade got together and wanted to go there. Since then, it has not been a litany of massive successes. His big coup was getting Jimmy Butler, which then soured at the end, and those teams overachieved thanks to, I think, they have great player development, they're undrafted guys, all those things around the edges, and Spo's a great coach. But I do not look at the Heat as anywhere close. Like, I think there are 4 teams in the West I'd rather be, and 4 teams in the East I'd rather be flatly. That's more than a quarter of the league. So I just don't know, and they have now traded away their draft picks and their future flexibility. I don't know how they get from here to there. And the answer can't be, as I've seen bandied about somewhere, well, I bet you can get Ja Morant. Like, they're going to be a great defensive team that makes very little sense on offense. It's why, as a basketball fan, I'm disappointed he's there instead of Boston. Because I think in Boston, and I'm no Celtics fan, I think in Boston, he could contend for championships.
This upcoming season. And going forward.
You don't think that he wanted to go to the East, with all due respect to the Knicks, the East is still the easier path to the finals, right? Yes. Everybody here agrees with that?
Agreed.
Sure.
Okay. And the best player in the Eastern Conference?
It's been Giannis since LeBron left. Is that? So what?
But I mean, hold on. The supporting cast that he has in Miami is now better than the supporting cast that he had in Milwaukee.
The supporting cast he has in Miami is Bam Adebayo and a great coach.
And a great defensive point guard, and Andrew Wiggins, who shot 40-something% from three last year.
But they need more shooting than Andrew Wiggins.
No question. This team, as presently constituted today, on what day is it?
The 23rd.
On June 23rd, is not winning a title. We are all in agreement on that.
But let me just.
You just seem so confident they're going to be able to build.
Before we move on, let me just ask this to the group. And I know pretend you're a gambler for a moment. You can pick either of these things, and you win money if you're right. Option 1, Giannis with the Heat win a championship. Option 2, Giannis with the Heat never make a conference finals. I think option 2 is far more likely. And that's why I'm bummed out. Because if you gave me that same option, had he kind of nudged his way more towards Boston, I would have been like, of course they're making conference finals. Like, it's an impossibility that Giannis and Tatum are not deep into the playoffs, and then we'll see. Maybe the most likely option is C, don't win a title but make conference finals. Yeah. But with the Heat, I would be stunned if they win a title. And I would not be stunned if next year they are the 7 seed. I would not be stunned by that.
Yeah, I want to see kind of to your point, what their roster ends up looking like. But as it's currently constructed, again, they will be phenomenal defensively. Offensively, they're going to be an experiment.
All right, quickly, let's go to the team that didn't get Giannis, the Celtics. They were going to send Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks, but don't you dare ask for Baylor Shireman. What? Hugo Gonzalez at his 4 points a game, untouchable. Didn't come to fruition. Jaylen's future is now up in the air. Brew, can the Celtics just run it back?
Yes. And look, if I'm running the Celtics, I am looking at what I can get for Jaylen Brown. Because I do think in the ideal world, they can make a great trade for him and improve their team. But I am not giving him away. I am not, man, it's out there. We were shopping him. We were about to trade him. He's going to be mad. We can't bring him back in the building. No way I'm thinking that. If I don't get the trade I like, I am bringing Jaylen Brown back. If it takes a heart-to-heart, man-to-man, let's put it all on the table, then we'll do so. We're all adults in here. But they are contenders. No question they are contenders next year as currently constructed. And so I'm not going to mess that up just because I'm worried about his hurt feelings. So I would, like I said, I'm looking. If I can get a good deal, I'll do it. But I am not like, there's no way I can bring him and Jason Tatum back together and all that. No.
Jaylen Brown will be on Twitch at some point in the next 36 hours, and I'm wondering if you'll change your tune on that. I hear you on the man-to-man, heart-to-heart conversation, and it sounds good, but I have a very hard time seeing him put that uniform on again. And I don't know what the trade will be. I just know that a dozen teams are going to make offers.
So why do you see well, that's good. If teams come after him and all that, and I do think they will. But look, we talked about it with Lamar, with the Ravens, when he said he wanted out. And some thought there's no way he could go back there. He's back there. LeBron and Dan Gilbert. LeBron went back to play for Dan Gilbert.
Sure.
Like, these are adults and your feelings get hurt, but sometimes you move on as a professional.
But do you think they should?
No, I think if they can get a deal, a deal that they think makes them better, I'm doing it. I'm with you on that. Well, I'm just saying I'm not like, I can't bring Jaylen back.
Well, and that's why it'll be different than you 3 years of contractual control. He's younger. He's healthier. He's a two-way player. And I do think you could honestly open up a bidding war and say, here's our deadline, whether it's opening day or whatever you wanted it to be, and say, make us your best offer. And I honestly think a third of the league would make offers on Jaylen Brown.
I think it's on the board that we do a segment this summer of showing what the Bucks got for Giannis and what the Celtics got for Jaylen Brown, and we debate who got the better return. I think that's on the board. I think now the fact that the Celtics offered Jaylen plus 2 firsts and Milwaukee turned it down, that implies that the belief there is that Giannis has more value.
He also has more leverage, man.
Agreed. I think that because of the age, durability, I think easier fit on roster, contractual control, all of that, I think that if Jaylen Brown is available, and he clearly is available, then I think the Celtics could get a massive return for him. And the question, because I just keep going back to Brad Stevens' end-of-year press conference, when he was like, and I wish he would have told me this before I picked them to win the championship. He was like, when you really looked at it, we weren't that close. Like that we struggled against the best teams. Right. We weren't where we needed to be. And he does not feel like they can run it back. So even if Brew's right that it's less about Jaylen Brown's emotional, hurt feelings or whatever, and more about just the actual X's and O's of contention, I think the Celtics are going to look massively different next year. And I think Jaylen Brown will be somewhere else. Coming up next, Lionel Messi, the best show on TV. We talk about, is the GOAT conversation's over, the expectations for him this World Cup, all of it. Speaking of the GOAT conversation.
Yeah, he's looking at you like
he's none too happy. That's all right. Hour, 37 minutes, 55 seconds from now, Portugal takes on Uzbekistan as Portugal tries to get its first win of the World Cup. And Uzbekistan tries to, I'll just tell you, bankrupt me. I've done it again. All in on a huge money line favorite. Let's go Portugal. All coming up later today on Fox.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Back here on First Things First, there's Dax's guy, Harry Kane.
Come on, Harry.
He's plus 265 to score 2 goals. I've been telling folks, I'm not making these multi-goal bets, which is why I'm the only person who's lost money on this World Cup. Everyone else is just like, hey, the Stars are going to score. Bet that. Ever. Yeah. England, Ghana today at 4 Eastern. England in the discussion for best performance from their first game of the World Cup. Germany did score 7 goals, but against lesser competition. That's at 4 Eastern today, live on Fox. Getting back to yesterday, Messi continues his dominance, scores 2 more goals against Austria. Messi now the all-time World Cup leader in goals. Zlatan after the game, second language, I'll give him, a little bit of margin of error here. He might have stolen my catchphrase. Take a listen.
It was never in doubt. I mean, you have moments where he looks human by missing the penalty. Then you have the moments when he doesn't look human. That's Messi. Messi is, so far, it's his World Cup, and he didn't play against Jordan yet. So I don't know where it will finish. 5 goals in 2 games. I have 0 goals in 2 World Cups. So I'm happy. I'm happy for him, and I hope he continues. His birthday is in a couple of days, so let him enjoy, because we are all enjoying him by seeing him play. So amazing, just amazing, no words.
So here's Messi now at the World Cup.
That's pretty good.
First in tournaments, games, goals plus assists, and 1 more assist. He will be first in assists as well. Dax, I know Messi was already your GOAT coming into the World Cup, but what has this tournament thus far meant for his legacy?
Well, he's always been, in my opinion, the last couple of years, the greatest player of all time. He put that debate to bed when he won the 2022 World Cup. As far as his legacy now, he's playing with house money. I've never seen a UFO, but now I have seen an alien. Because what he is doing at this age, on this stage, is unprecedented. A lot of people talked about when he came to MLS, that was an acknowledgement of, okay, I'm going to ride off into the sunset, enjoy the rest of my life and career in South Beach, drinking pina coladas and playing in a lesser league. He's actually gotten better since he got to Major League Soccer. And of course, his heyday with Barcelona, no one will ever be able to hit the heights that he hit in terms of his production. But as far as the way that he is able to differentiate his game now that he's a little bit older, he's got the highest soccer IQ of any player that's ever lived. And this Argentina national team, until they won the 2022 World Cup, littered with world-class players all over the field. And Messi was just another world-class player, maybe the best one of the bunch, where he just had to play his role. Since 2022, they have essentially said, you are going to carry us, and all other 10 players on the field, coaching staff, and the subs, we are going to defer to you. It's almost a respectful deference. And we saw it in the first goal that he scored against Austria. Thiago Almada, a former teammate of mine at Atlanta United, one of the best players I've ever played with, hasn't scored a World Cup goal, is in a great position here on the top of the box. Any player in that same position would take a touch, try to score. He had time, he had space. He knows exactly where Messi is going to show up. That little space on the top of the box is where Messi does his most devastating work. It's almost an unspoken bond. It's like Stockton and Malone. When they would do a pick and roll, you'd know exactly where it was going to turn out. That spot for Lionel Messi, that respectful deference to his quality and his leadership to be able to score goals is exactly why Argentina has won the last 2 Copa Americas. It's why they've won the 2022 World Cup. And it's why I made a grievous error in saying that Messi before the tournament would probably be more of a creator than a goal scorer, because the only thing he's done since he got to Major League Soccer is score goals for fun at will. This is truly unprecedented territory. What we are seeing right now at his age will not be replicated.
You've been saying that he is better now than he was before. And Nick showed a graphic earlier about his goal scoring in the World Cup lately. This is 6th straight World Cup game where he scored a goal. How has he gotten better?
Yeah.
Though, obviously you're not as athletic, you're not as strong as you used to be, but how has he gotten better?
In his heyday at FC Barcelona, there will never be another player that can touch the talent, quality, devastating effectiveness that he hit in terms of goal scoring, in terms of essentially being unstoppable. His ability to dribble, technically manipulate the ball, dribble past 4 or 5 players, he's not the same player he was then. But in terms of his soccer IQ, where he picks up spaces on the field, the way that he conserves energy, and the way that he's efficient, I do believe his efficiency in and around the goal is at the highest level that it has ever been, because he doesn't need to go and chase shadows defensively. Right. He can rest. He can reserve his energy. And you see him. There's something in soccer called scanning. The best central midfielders, you'll see them. If you just had a camera on a central midfielder, they're constantly looking over their shoulders. Where does the next pass need to go? Messi is constantly doing that when he doesn't have the ball, but his team is in possession, trying to find the weakness of the opponent. Where are they playing? Are they overloading the middle with too many defenders? I'm going to go find space out wide. Where, if there's not space out wide, I'm going to go in the middle of the field. If he's being man-marked by a center back, how do I get the ball to then play 1 and 2 touch? His movement off the ball is at the highest level it can possibly be. So different era of him as a player, but his efficiency is at the highest level it's ever been.
I think you just have to marvel at, so everyone's like, the GOAT debate is over. Well, that's a pretty amazing accomplishment. Right. And this whole World Cup was supposed to just be icing on the cake, victory lap,
Correct.
Almost celebratory for the perfect capping to the career at the last World Cup, where he finally wins it and gets carried off the pitch by his teammates.
Yeah.
And now they're one of the favorites to maybe go back-to-back, which would be the first time since Brazil in the early 60s. And GOATs have a funny way of making us, reimagine, maybe now this is possible. And you look through his resume, and it's like, well, he's done this, he does this, he has this record, record. Oh, he actually never has won a Golden Boot at a World Cup, but that's obviously impossible, right? He's 38 years old. Right. He's going to be 39 tomorrow. Happy birthday to Messi. And it's like, well, now he's the favorite to win that award. So I just think maybe he goes back-to-back. Maybe he gets the Golden Goat. It's the reimagining of what's possible.
And we also very rarely see a debate ended. Now, I'm going to say a somewhat unpopular opinion. I do not agree the GOAT debate is a Gretzky situation. I think Pele has always been, for me, I have been a Messi versus Ronaldo, a Messi guy, but Messi versus Pele, historically, I'd been like, maybe it is. I do have a little bit of a deference to history. I hold Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in higher esteem than a lot of people who literally watched Kareem's whole career. I'm like, I don't know, it seems pretty great. But he has ended the Messi versus Ronaldo debate. That's dead now. And I understand Aisho Speed's upset about it. Our guy Ramsey's upset about it. There are a lot of Ronaldo fans. But that is, as we like to say sometimes, Brew, at this point, an unacceptable opinion. But the reason it was, an acceptable opinion was because Messi did not have a great World Cup.
Correct.
Or really representing Argentina as a whole history.
Correct.
Can we just show it real quick, Dust, before we get to the Ronaldo stuff? Messi versus Ronaldo at the World Cup was like a real debate one could have, and where you could argue, man, Ronaldo's had such worse teammates, as had goals and assists their first 4 World Cups. Yeah, Messi's up 11-9, but he's doing it with great teams, and Ronaldo's not.
Yep.
Last 2 World Cups, 15-1. Career World Cup record, obviously, again.
Sure.
But this World Cup, we'll see Portugal's team. You remove Messi from Argentina and Ronaldo from Portugal, I think most people are like, well, Portugal's better.
Yeah.
And so there's that. There's then also the fact that Messi, but with him was FC Barcelona, amazing.
Yep.
Playing for his club, amazing. Playing for his country, not so much. This decade, since 2020 to now, can we show his international record with Barcelona? It's remarkable what he's done. I think we have it. After never winning any major tournament for Barcelona, they've now won back-to-back Copas. We don't have it, but that's okay. Back-to-back Copas, there it is. Before 2021, that's a fine record, but 0 titles.
Correct.
Since then, They've won both Copas. They've won the World Cup. And they're the co-favorites or second favorites now to win this one. And so that is what is so remarkable about what he's doing at this age, which does bring us to one of the only guys in the tournament older than him, Cristiano Ronaldo. Portugal's taking on Uzbekistan today in an hour and 24 minutes on Fox. Ronaldo went scoreless in match one, and a lot of people think one of the reasons Portugal didn't win that game outright was because Ronaldo was hunting goals after seeing Messi's hat trick. Well, now he's seen Messi's hat trick. Mbappe had a couple more. Erling Haaland had a couple more. Dax, do you expect the great players' performances, but most notably Messi's, to impact how Ronaldo approaches today's game?
I think that great player performances have always impacted Ronaldo because he has always seen himself in that upper stratosphere of great players, which he has been. This whole Messi-Ronaldo debate is getting into the territory of almost degrading Ronaldo's legacy, which I think is completely ridiculous because Cristiano's legacy is one of the greatest players of all time. Now, I don't personally believe that he is in the same category as Lionel Messi because he is the greatest player that's ever lived, but Ronaldo up to this point has certainly been in the conversation. And the first game performance that they had against DR Congo, that isn't all on Ronaldo. Yes, he is a big part of it. And I said, and I stand by the fact that when you are a superstar and when you are relied on to score goals, when your team wins or doesn't play well, or when your team loses and doesn't play well, then you have to take the criticism. And when you win, you are going to get the praise. So there is some criticism that Ronaldo deserves levied his way. But there's also criticism that should be levied at that midfield, who I described as the best in the tournament. They actually had, after match day one, because now every team has played 2 games except for, I think, the 8 that are going to play today, including Portugal. After match day one, they had 3 players, the top 3 players in the tournament, with back passes that were playing the ball backwards. So you're not creating the amount of chances that Cristiano normally gets. The midfield has to be better. Roberto Martinez has to be better. Cristiano Ronaldo will get a chance today. I do believe he'll score.
Dax, Portugal's definitely going to win, right?
Yes, they will win the game today. Right. Not going to be an easy game against Uzbekistan.
But they're definitely going to win.
They will win. I don't want to say definitely, but they will win.
I just want to tell you something, Dax.
You know why?
Yesterday, I've been all in on Haaland, and by Haaland I mean Norway, but Erling Haaland, who doesn't play for Haaland. Haaland. And I was ready to try to get back some of my losses. And then you were like, Senegal can win. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Dax is the expert.
Senegal.
I'm not going to bet
Highly
Norway.
disappointed
I'm not going to bet Norway. And then I watched them win.
Errors.
And so now, the only way to get that money back is to lay even more on a minus 700 favorite. So, okay, you've guaranteed it. So you're
Portugal will win today. Ronaldo will score.
Coming up next, Messi plays in Miami. Could LeBron play in Miami again?
Why not?
Does Pat Riley get credit for bringing Messi to Miami? Just made the whole sports scene better.
Danny, absolutely.
And we're counting down to England-Ghana. England's definitely going to win too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
they will.
All right, we're good. We're back. Today, 4 Eastern, on Fox, live from Boston. England takes on Ghana. England looked like one of the best teams in the tournament match day one. See if Harry Kane can keep up his hot scoring streak to keep up with Haaland and Mbappe and Messi, all that later today on Fox. England-Ghana in about 4 hours and 15 minutes on Fox. Jude Bellingham, Marcus Rashford. And you know what? I'm going the other way. No Harry Kane goals. Those 2 fellas score.
A little bit of Harry Kane hater, Nick.
All the best players can't score 2 goals in every game.
They've all been doing it.
It's unbelievable. It has been a World Cup of stars. It's been unbelievable. 1 o'clock on Fox. You've got Portugal. 3 o'clock on Fox, or 4 o'clock on Fox, pardon me, England, Ghana. Time now for Prime Performance, sponsored by Capital One. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Miami Heat are trading for former 2-time NBA MVP and Finals MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. Next question is, who will they pair alongside him? Miami Herald writer Barry Jackson, old print newspaper writer, which means we take this seriously. The Heat could try to lure impending free agent LeBron James with its full mid-level exception. James' return is considered a long shot.
Really?
I would say so.
Brew, should LeBron consider this?
Well, look, I think let's take the Lakers out of it, right? And which is probably where he'll end up, or a good chance he'll end up. If you look at the rest of the teams, and it's like money's that kind of out, he's just looking for a good basketball situation.
If all the teams offer him the same mid-level exception, taxpayer.
Look, one of the things, obviously, LeBron is older, so his defense isn't what it was. That team, that wouldn't be a problem there. My thing with them is they would still lack the shooting and the depth that you would want, and those are the things that some of the things that hurt him with the Lakers. He's already playing with a top 5-ish player, and they're good, but they're not the championship level. But this would be the East. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like Cleveland's interesting. Golden State I don't think will win, but like Denver's interesting. Like Minnesota's interesting, or even Houston if he wanted to open it up and say, hey, I'll go here and I'll be a good fit and all that. But if I were Miami, I would definitely go after him. I would definitely try to pitch him just like, hey, you went back to Cleveland, got your ring there, come back here, get us a ring. It would have a lot of value, even though Giannis would be the best player on the team. LeBron going back there and kind of being the quarterback, which is what they need, would be fun. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think there's really any chance of it happening, but it is intriguing like a lot of these other scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, I love print journalism. So LeBron would make every team in the NBA better for the mid-level exception. What team would be like, that's not a good idea?
Yeah, but every team
just fits. You wouldn't.
And there's not every team that he has a history with, and that we think, and it has like a major need.
Right.
I understand. I think the idea. I personally think Cleveland makes more sense than this if he's going to leave. I fully expect him to be back with the Lakers. I don't think he's tired of the idea of playing with Bronny. Like his family's out there, his business is out there. He gets to play with his son. I fully expect him to be a Laker. But if he wants to move 5,000 miles away from his family and go back to where he played before, I do think that this would be they'd be pretty good.
I'm also happy that the United States just doubled in size in this segment. 5,000 feels strong. Miami to LA.
3,000.
So hold on, because you're like dismissing this out of hand. And okay, and so this is a question I would ask you. When Rich Paul and LeBron talk to the Lakers, if the Lakers are like, yeah, the most you can get anywhere else is the mid-level, so we will offer you $1 million more than the mid-level. If they get insulted and angry about that, again, like if they say, screw you.
Right.
I am not re-signing here. And then opens it up. Where would the Heat rank for you on best, if LeBron is definitively leaving, where would they rank on best realistic options?
Strictly basketball.
Yes.
Right? I
think they would be
Cleveland's your hometown, all that shit.
Correct.
Basketball.
Strictly basketball-wise of realistic options. Like, I don't think the Knicks are a realistic option. You mentioned Houston. I don't think Houston's a realistic option. I do think
Cleveland is a realistic option for
Cleveland
basketball.
Would be
right.
No, I think
they'd be behind Cleveland and Golden State.
I would go east. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If I go to Golden, there's very little chance they could get to the finals in Golden State. So I'm looking at the East, and I agree with you. I think Cleveland and Miami would be the top two options. I think Cleveland just has more of a fit because, like I said, Cleveland does have shooting. They weren't great defensively this year, but they do have two bigs that can protect the rim.
They have no one nearly as good as Giannis.
No.
And here's again. I think if he doesn't re-sign with the Lakers, he'll re-sign with not re-sign. I think he'll go to Golden State. I think the Cleveland James Harden thing got complicated. I also think there is a level of proximity of Golden State to Los Angeles versus Cleveland to Los Angeles. With that said, if Golden State's off the board and the Lakers were off the board, if it were to come down to between Cleveland and Miami, I think there is an argument to be made that Miami's a better fit than Cleveland. Because Cleveland, he runs into a similar problem I think he ran into in Los Angeles, which is Your
Harden
best
having the ball.
Harden and Donovan Mitchell need the ball to a degree. Your best guys need to play a certain way that demands I play a different role than I am best at. And Miami would have none of that problem at all. Giannis, of course, has the ball somewhat, but LeBron could run kind of the old school LeBron, run the show, and not have any of the workload on defense and not have to be the number one option. That's why I don't think it is as ludicrous as you seem to think it is.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to move and have the ball in his hands and play for a team he used to play for, but we've now said that the Lakers are disrespecting him, Golden State wouldn't work, and Cleveland. I just think there's a million things that have to happen before he would consider
That's why I was saying, should he consider it?
All right.
Barry Jackson said it's unlikely.
Yeah, I think very
and a
unlikely.
long shot.
Barry was just
real long shot.
The Heat getting Giannis for Tyler Hero was a long shot a year ago. It just happened.